Welcome to another episode of Final with Jeff Tice. It is a podcast about creativity, art, design, comedy, all those fun things. It is a podcast that will be over the moment we have Rick Rubin on as a guest, but that day is not today because we don't even have a guest today. We are rocking solo for one more day, another episode. Thank you for everyone who's been listening. I was going to do solo pods every other week, and then I decided that is genuinely a terrible idea, which that's how ideas work. Sometimes you're like, I think this is a good idea. And then you do it and you're like, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't do this anymore. So I'm only going to do solo pods every once in a while, but I'm excited to be here today with you guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you have been tuning in to all the episodes, we've had some really fun, amazing conversations with some incredibly creative people. Go back and listen to those. Again, these solo pods are going to be super short. I know it's kind of aggressive to make someone listen to you and just you. It doesn't feel like you're really hanging out. It feels like you're kind of being talked at, which sucks. So if you've been enjoying the pod, please could you just go rate and review? That really helps the podcast out, really helps it. The algorithm, the all-knowing algorithm, please submit to the algorithm. That is kind of what our life is at this point. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Truly, from the bottom of my heart, I've gotten such great feedback. One guy with really bad feedback, which I loved. Thank you so much for the bad feedback. We'll get into that, but it wasn't really bad feedback. It just was a nice comment that made me think about it until this very moment. And I've been stewing and furious about it. But other than that, it's been great. I have some shows coming up. If you want to see me on the road, I'm going to be next week. I will be in Richmond, California, probably. I'm at the Factory Bar with Rory Scovel. We're doing 2 shows. They may or may not be sold out already. So just now, I guess I'm just bragging. But if there's tickets available, I'll be in Richmond Wednesday, February 4th. And then the 5th, 6th, and 7th, I'll be in the Sacramento Punchline in Sacramento, California. Again, opening for Rory Scovel. It's going to be so much fun. We did some shows in Basalt, Colorado, up in the mountains just outside of Aspen last week. And it was incredible. So much fun to work with him. Talk about creativity, talk about one of the best comedians working today. So super grateful to be on those shows. We're going to have so much fun. So yeah, come out California, come and see us. Come talk art. I like to paint. Rory likes to paint. We also do stand-up, which is fun. And then also check out, I have a children's book called The 11 Evelyns. If you know a kid, don't be like, I know a kid. No, like you need to have or legally know a child that would use a children's book. So check that out. That's on Amazon or my website, jefftice.com. Other than that, we'll keep it short, but man, the last solo episode I did, I talked about the ins and outs, what's in for 2025, what is out for 2024. And my first thought, it was just kind of on the fly, but it was the drip painting guys. I said, get them out of here. We don't need the drip painting guys, because what that guy is doing, specifically one guy, is he's on a trapeze and he's floating around a room, a white room, dripping paint everywhere. Again, the actual act of making the video and putting the content out is the art, which is fine. That's a thing you can do. It's not for me, but it's fine. I don't think the actual image that he's making is super exciting or anything really filled with the concept is the actual video. I think it's more performance art than it is visual, um, a visual medium, something that you would hang on the wall. The story of how he made it and the video and the performance of him making it is more interesting and exciting and valid to me than the actual image he's making on the floor. That being said, I said that just, 85% joking. Let that guy live his life. But then a guy commented, he goes, hey, don't hate on other comedians, just keep scrolling, or hate on other artists, just keep scrolling. We're all in this together. And I thought about it, and I don't think that's true. I think there is bad art that is allowed to be bad. And it's for every medium, but I thought about it. I was like, is supporting another artist, should we just blanket in general support other artists because art is, are we a family? What are artists doing? Are we all in this together? And part of me believes, yes, like art, there is a lack of people wanting to support the arts, art in general, creativity, things like that. You're told from a really young age that being an artist and art isn't a viable thing, for the most part. And so when a guy was like, "Hey, don't attack other artists, or don't say that what they're doing isn't good, support them or move on." I don't know. Sometimes it's bad. And I think it's allowed to be bad. I make a lot of bad art. So if you think it's bad, this might be bad. And that's fine. It's allowed to be bad. But yeah, other than that, we'll move on from that guy. But it just made me laugh. It just made me think about, what is good art? Is bad art allowed to be bad? Are we allowed to criticize? Which obviously we can, but I don't know, just this weird, we're all a family, we're all in it together, just didn't hit. It also might have just been because it was a comment on Instagram, and then everyone who comments on Instagram anything negative, get out of here. I don't, not for me. I Yeah, what else? I also just keeping it negative, I guess. We'll just keep going into the hate. I think a lot. I think hopefully some designers and creative people listen to this. I've been going back and forth. I'm having a dilemma with Photoshop and Adobe. Adobe has now become the monopolistic monstrosity of the design world, subscription model, and it really just comes down to Photoshop just hasn't been working for me. Like, it just doesn't. I'm getting errors. It's so slow and bloated. It's like a framework that was built so long ago, uh, however long Photoshop, but that framework is still the framework of how that program and that app works. And all these other apps and programs and design things are coming out that are just lapping it in performance. And I don't know. I mean, I'm so it's so ingrained into my workflow, into my life, into my business. So I don't think I'll ever be able to get away from Photoshop. But man, it's really dragging me down. I've been using Figma for a lot of client work, which I think a lot of people do. If you're a designer and use Figma, I think that's beyond industry standard, especially for product work. But we've been doing a lot of visual design in Figma, and it's been great. It's light, it's fast, it's quick. This is not an ad for Figma. They also are probably going to turn into a monopolistic monstrosity eventually. But yeah, for right now, I'm really really enjoying using Figma. It's been good. It's really nice and collaborative. But yeah, Photoshop, everything Adobe has just been tanking for me. Like After Effects feels like you're shoveling just dirt into a grave. That got so dark, but that's how it feels anytime I try to do anything in that. So yeah, these are just little moments that are popping up in my head, and that's it. But let's not focus on anything negative. I Last time I got really excited. I've been searching around for artists that I really like, and I think for these solo pods, just these quick 10-minute little increments, I want to talk about like artists that I love, things that are artists that I do think are doing a great job. Not trapeze artists swinging around, tossing art into a white paint into a white room. But I did find this art. I followed him for a while. His name is Matt Bollinger, Bollinger. He is a painter. I'm not sure exactly where he's from, but he's American. But my God, his art is so good. I'll put it in the show description and in the notes. I'll link to his Instagram and his website. His work is so good. The best way, with all respect, the way I would describe his art is if Edward Hopper worked on Bob's Burgers. That's my best way of describing the style of the figures, and then also the way he paints light and the scenes. He paints these beautiful small town American moments of people, a lot of blue collar working class people who are just in these cool little moments happening in life. One of them I really love is these two guys working on a trash truck. One guy is talking to another, the other guy's staring at the other guy as one guy is climbing up into the truck. It's like these quick little vignettes of small town American life and blue collar life with incredible color. The color it's super vibrant, but also extremely muted and desaturated at times. But then these massive diagonal, slashes of light, very Hopper-esque in the way that the light hits a lot of the objects. And he just does a really good job of conveying a small town American feel in a super stylized way. And I mean, the colors are generally depressing. I think it might be the subject matter as well, but the way that the light is painted, it has this beautiful optimism about a lot of the paintings. On his website, he has this really cool, one of the collections is called Halftime, and it has what looks like a mom making some food outside of a football game. They have the team, the high school team, one guy getting his knee taped in the locker room with some of the other players standing around. There's like a water boy standing in the back holding a Gatorade jug in this nice, silhouetted backlit door. Um, just a really gorgeous look into, football night in Texas or in, Missouri. It's a really cool way to visualize American small town life, and it's just a beautiful depiction of that. So yeah, check out Matt Bollinger. I really have been diving into his work a lot, studying how he, paints light and these figures. The figures are interesting. The figures look like, I say Bob's Burgers, but I mean, they're very stylized. They have really, big graphic curves. A lot of the faces and the shapes that the light make across the faces, they come off as in a very graphic nature. I don't know much about Matt's life, but I would assume he's probably a very talented designer outside of artist, because the way he designs the compositions and the way he designs the features of the figure also come across as very well considered, and everything works really harmoniously together. So check him out. I really love the work. Every person in every painting looks like Shane Gillis to me. If you check out the work, that just the comedian in me just sees him in so many of these in so many of these guys. So that's it for today. A quick and dirty one. Quick, super clean, super fast. Thank you so much again for listening. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. We'll be back next week with an incredible guest. I'm so excited for her to be on. I can't wait to record with her. We're going to talk about some really fun stuff. I won't say who it is yet because we haven't recorded yet. So just make sure, just don't get too excited. But other than that, thank you so much for coming out to the show tonight. I went right into comedy host mode. Tip your servers, give it up for the wait staff as always. And yeah, rate and review. That would be super helpful. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening, and have a great week. Be good to each other. And shout out to Rick Rubin. Bye.